Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Awakening Potential Show, where we get to explore the hidden paths to unlock your greatest potential. Each episode invites you to discover fresh perspectives, unfold stories, and transform ideas shared by remarkable individuals who have mastered the art of growth. Here, it's not just about reaching for success, it's about understanding the journey, seeing the possibilities, and realizing that the extraordinary is within you. So let's begin this journey together. And today on the Awakening Potential Show, we have an incredible guest. I'm so excited, whose journey embodies creativity and then some, Laura Dougherty. She's an AI automations consultant helping fractional, and forgive me, this is a whole new thing for my realm. Fractional CMOs eliminate operational headaches and achieve scalable, data-driven growth using affordable, bespoke AI automations. Wow, yeah, I have worked with Laura and she is absolutely amazing. She definitely gets my testimony. She gets my kudos. This is a whole new realm about her that I have not even tapped into yet. So Laura, welcome, 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 Laura Dougherty. It's so wonderful to have you here. Thrilled that you're here going to explore your journey and the wisdom with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me to join you today, Karen. It's my first podcast, so I hope I do a good job for you.
Oh, I'm trusting you're going to do a great.
But yeah, like we were saying earlier, I'm usually the one behind the scenes, right, cracking out all of the stuff that needs doing.
So I want to pause for a second, just on that note, because this is all about awakening potential. And how many people are listening? It's not about me, so you're not doing it for me. We're doing it for the listening audience, right? And how many people are behind the scenes that haven't even thought of it? So I really give you a lot of kudos. It takes courage to get behind a camera, right? So thank
Yeah,
you for being all of that and more to serve others, right? So thank you.
I think actually that's, for me anyway, that's the motivation, Karen. It's not because I want to be front and center. If I just reflect back on my entire career, everything that I do is in service to others.
Absolutely.
If you look at my CV, almost every single role I've had has been in customer support or service delivery or client experience or, those kind of things, making the experience that people are having better. And it's fascinating how this journey that I've been in tech for a very long time, but this new component of AI has now come in, and how I'm able to use the tool of artificial intelligence to continue serving other people in faster, more brilliant ways, to alleviate the stress and the manual overhead of things that actually happen behind the scenes when you're trying to run a business, your day-to-day operations or managing your team, or even being creative when it comes to your marketing system. How are you getting your information and all of that out there? So for me, I think the key has always been in service to others.
Absolutely. And I'm not attempting to assert that you're not, for sure. But I'm really curious, Laura, like, let's go back in time before tech and everything else. Who was Laura then? Like, what got you into doing what you do? And I get you're passionate about it. You're excellent at it. As I said, I've used your services. I will know I'm clear I'm going to be using them again. And who knows what this component's all about. But before we get into that, like, who were you? What got you into
So
it?
yeah, very, very kind of early memories, and certainly photographs can stand as testament, I guess, of me as a small girl dressing up as all the things: a nurse, a doctor, a Batgirl, a Supergirl, a Wonder Girl, anything except Laura. But I guess that is the kind of person I am. I'm a person who wears multiple hats. Even, how that translates to today is, like I said to you, I'm not a one-stop shop. I hear people all the time saying, just do this one thing, be that one thing, do only that piece of the job, and then pass it on to somebody else in the line, right? I've always wanted a job that uses all of my skills. And so from a very young age, I was already exploring those different parts of me, right? Who I am. My favorite superhero was Batgirl. And I believe the reason I loved her the most was because I'm even in black today, but nonetheless, why I loved Batgirl the most was because she didn't have superpowers like X-ray vision and all those things, but she had a toolkit of skills she used to keep others safe. So Batgirl, if you even look at Batman, he drives a cool car and nowadays he has this awesome bike. But her superpower was in service to others, keeping the community safe. And she would use the skills she had to fight off baddies or, keep children from drowning in a river or whatever. And so I feel like I resonate with that well. I don't necessarily have X-ray vision, but I certainly over my years have gained the qualifications and the skills in a multitude of different areas. And I'm now actually able to put those into practice. So I'm a lot of different things. I don't really think I'm one. And the reason that's important to me is because it means that I'm using all of who I am all of the time. I hate being boxed into only use this amount of your brain or only do this thing, right? And I guess therein is the potential, right? Having the courage to try everything no matter what. Right. And combined with that is I'm a massively pragmatic person. So I love a thing that can do this and that, right? So you get this tool, but then it can also do these couple of other things for you, which makes it even more exciting and more cool because it's like, oh, I'm killing like multiple birds with, one stone. I'm not just like in it doing this and cracking on at that for ages. It gives you some variety and change.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna step in there and say, you know what? You are totally that girl. Because when I was drowning in the river with my business, I was so grateful for you. You saved me, right? And I am going to say your superpower is X-ray vision as well, whether you realize it or not, because you were able to zone in on exactly what was needed, when it was needed, and where it was needed. And I was so grateful for that because, as a business owner and an entrepreneur, I mean, I'm all over the place. And, you're trying to be many things, attempting to be many things for many people and myself as well. And it's like, if I focus here, where you focus your energy, that's where, your attention goes. So when I'm focusing over here, I'm not always seeing what's going on over here. And you created a system for me that was just like brilliant. I'm like, check this out. I got to like flow, man. I love that. X-ray vision is one of your many superpowers, and you have many gifts. Totally, totally. And part of what I adore about you so much. But so dressing up as a little girl, and then what got you into, fast forward a little bit more, like what got you into what you're
Actually, I don't think it was all my decision. I think my mom has a massive part to play in that. She was training at the time at an executive college, so for executives who were learning how to use computers. Now, back at that time, computers had just come out. There were still those massively big, white, clunky things you stick on your desk with the big ass, red button that, you put that on and off kind of thing. That's the time I'm talking about. Yeah, with the dot matrix green coming across the screen. That was the time. And I was just kind of coming to the end of high school. And my mom was adamant that I wasn't going to take a gap year and just sit around and not do anything. And I suppose, being the parent and having being able to reflect back and see what's coming down the line. When you're 19 or 18, you don't have that, vision. You can't see what it is that's coming. And so she had actually said to me, no, you're not taking a gap year, but you could do or study anything, right? And I'm very different to my sister in the sense that I'm not an academic. Like I know a lot of things, but my way of wanting to get there is not through university, 7 years of studying and that kind of thing. So the route that I decided to take was short, quick courses. I have a degree in business management and marketing. I did that part-time through night school for 6 years, but working full-time gave me the opportunity to actually apply what I was learning. And so we were just talking even before, this, that, certainly you can learn the skills, but it does take time to learn that. And so from a very young age, it was kind of like my MO. It's how I've always done stuff, right? I kind of jump in, get the theory, give me the recipe, then let me bake the cake. And my mom
Right.
will always describe me like that, give her the recipe, let her see what's involved, and then let her go try the thing.
Right.
So, so it was actually my mom who got me into the tech and the whole sort of thing. And I went on to study. I actually think the year program they had planned, I finished in 6 months, and I just took to tech, computers, and that world like a fish to water.
Yes.
It's easy for me. It's kind of how my brain thinks. My mom will actually sometimes say to me, Laura, can you stop speaking in acronyms? Because I'm like, the DLCIs from the MPLS network need to whatever, and nobody knows.
Like what?
Nobody knows. But for some reason, that's how my head thinks, So yeah, certainly going on from, and that even kind of fits back to what we're talking about just then about Batgirl's toolkit, right? Another skill, another arrow in the thing, in the pack.
Love
So
it.
yeah, and then I guess it just kind of went from there. Intuitively, I feel into kind of what it is I enjoy, and then I go for that next thing. Even my career has been guided by the skills I needed in a role or was lacking in a role, and got those skills and then moved to the next, and then got those skills and then moved to the next. And it's also kind of how my own business has developed, right? Much like you'll know, being an entrepreneur, you start off with just thinking, oh, this is the thing I'm going to do. And then, well, you open a can of worms and you're like, shit, to get this thing done, I
Exactly.
actually need to know this, and then I need to know that, and then I need to, oh my God, so then how do you do all the things, right? But
Exactly. Exactly. Well, being that I've worked with you before, and again, it was just such an amazing experience. I've hired you prior as a VIP consultant and had one-on-one for, God, it was a while. And I was so grateful because we got so much done in such a short period of time. And you weren't as much into or at least I wasn't aware about the AI. So I get that, I get AI to a degree, right? But what does an AI automations consultant look like? And again, fractional CMOs, I don't know what a CMO is. So explain a little bit about that and what you're doing now. You've added this one to your quill, and it's like, what's next, Where's that?
Well, certainly the AI automation consulting is the thing I'm busy with now. But have the backpack of all the quills ready to go, for whatever I need. And much like what you've experienced in our time working together, what I guess the beauty of what we did together was, and maybe why you didn't know so much about the AI automations, was because the solution I was helping you with was tailored to what you needed at the time.
Got it. Okay.
A lot of business owners like you are stuck exactly like you with, oh my God, there's so many things that need to happen here. If
Exactly.
there could just be somebody who could cut through the noise and just point out the pertinent things that'll just tick me over and actually set me on a path, it
Exactly.
opens up the room then for the next conversation or the next piece as you evolve as a business owner, but also as your business moves along.
Yeah.
It's far too overwhelming, and also sometimes isn't appropriate to layer on all the things, right, when the person might not necessarily need it. I also feel like working with what you have right now is important, especially when you're starting off or getting going, or you don't have a full team or those sorts of things. there's loads of people that will encourage you to buy the next software, buy the next tool, buy the whatever. But as you've already experienced, there's some really cool free little resources, that are available, easy to use. It doesn't demand a lot of time or like a steep learning curve. And so I think what I'm good is, I guess this is the laser focus, is how do you work? Who are you as a business owner? And how can I speak into that? What tools will support that which you are good at, which you need? For example, I already know from working with you that you're more visual than anything else. So a tool that's going to help you see your process end to end, or help you manage the amount of team members you have, or those sorts of things, will make the difference to how your business runs, because it'll be a tool that you'll adopt and use, as opposed to me just saying, here's a suite of things you should have. Not necessarily, right?
Exactly.
And so now that your business has come along a little bit, possibly AI, and with it being it's not a up and coming thing, it's here. People are implementing it already. So it's probably going to be likely that even you would start adopting some of the AI things to help fast track your business or your success or those sorts of things.
Right.
So you're quite right. When we started off, the fractional CMO and the whole thing was quite a mouthful to get your head around. But very simply, a fractional CMO, a CMO stands for Chief Marketing Officer. And that's the term corporates use when they hire somebody to run their marketing system end to end. They're usually very qualified, experienced, super genius people, and have a permanent role at a corporate firm.
I thought it was like an AI term.
Right. But again, acronyms are my vibe, right? So I should always remember, like, I need to give a bit more detail. But the fractional piece is the differentiating component there. Fractional means consulting, essentially. It's not a permanent post at a corporate firm. It's an individual who consults to a business who doesn't have their own full complement of marketing team members, skills, those sorts of things. And so businesses outsource a fractional CMO to give the strategic direction to the marketing for that particular company. And so a fractional CMO's main responsibilities essentially are the strategic direction for where the company's going, what will they market, how will they market it, when, where, and all of that sort of stuff, the positioning. And then where a permanent chief marketing officer would actually be managing their own team, a fractional CMO supports the team. So the team does the execution, has the creativity, does all of that sort of stuff, but they follow the strategic direction laid out by the fractional CMO. And so I say I work with fractional CMOs because my skill set comes in on the execution side. So the CMO still has the ability to give the strategy, but to execute on that strategy at a very quick speed in record time is where my AI automations consulting comes in. So what's the idea? How do you want it to work? Cool, let me make it happen, right? That's how you know me, right?
You're right. So let me ask you this, Laura, for those who are listening that aren't as techie and don't know much about AI, what are AI automations? Like, explain a little bit more about that if you would.
Okay, so there's two components to that, AI and then the automation side. So AI is the artificial intelligence component. That can be any kind of language model like OpenAI. So ChatGPT is one, Gemini, that's from Google, Claude. There's a multitude of different ones out there. I think Copilot is the one that belongs to Microsoft. So there's that element of it. And then automations is a system like Zapier or make.com, and there's a multitude of other ones as well. And it essentially takes information and runs with the task. So the task no longer becomes manual. You set it and forget it, and essentially the system is the thing that runs the execution for you. So it's ideal for business owners who don't have a team or have a very small team. Once we get clear on what it is you're actually trying to do, we set up an automation to, if this happens, then do this. And then once that's happened, go and do this next thing. So some of the automations, for example, I'm using right now would be for business owners who want to create content on social media. It's a massively, and you'll, I'm sure, know this, it's a massively time-consuming exercise to do the research, find the content, speak to, especially if you aren't skilled or very well versed in marketing, like a CMO would be, what do I say? When do I say it? How do I attract my ideal client? There's so many components to it. The automation, the combination of the AI and the automation is we use the AI to fast track the creation of the content. So it's not manual copywriting and brainstorming ideas and trying to think of content pillars and all those kind of things. We use AI trained on your voice, the information about your business or whatever it is, to give you the outputs that you need. And then the automation takes that information and goes and deploys it onto social media. So if, for instance, you've not only struggled or find yourself stuck in creating content, the automation simplifies it even further by taking that, say, one article you've done, and it automatically does the repurposing. So you create a long form blog post or an article that can, is well suited for LinkedIn. It's got your thought leadership in there. You've already trained the AI on your topic and your thing, and you're happy with it. You just basically say send, and the automation takes that long form copy and repurpose it into short form posts, emails, video scripts for YouTube or shorts or TikToks or any of that. And you can actually take it a step further then and have the AI automation post it to all of your social platforms. So essentially, once you've given it what you're happy with, the rest is history. All you need to do is wake up and see your stuff on social media. That's the power of the AI and the automation stacked together. Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, it's like the way technology and the way we're going. I was speaking to somebody yesterday, I think it was. I use chat at myself, and I'm dabbling with Dali, and again, it's all time consuming. So I'm getting that you really support it's like Canva. It's like I love the creative side, and I can be very, very creative and get lost in it. And then I'm not getting other things done. So I have to delegate it, or I'll be playing all day long. I love AI. I do, but I haven't tried that one yet. I haven't attempted that. And I can see where it would really support. So the person I was talking to yesterday was like, yeah, it's gonna like get rid of jobs and everything else. What's your thoughts on all of that? I mean, I really find it being supportive, and especially with the ease and how quickly life is, what's your thoughts? I mean, is it replacing thought? Is it replacing,
Well, I think it first of all depends how you want to use it. If you're going to enter a chat and let it do the stuff for you, and it by choice, not choose to tailor it or tweak it or prompt it or those sorts of things, then I suppose you're leaving it to its own devices, right? Do I think it'll take over jobs? Yes and no. What I think will happen is if you choose not to upskill in AI, I think you will fall behind the curve. That's what I think. I think it's still important to have your own thought leadership, your own ideas, your own, piece of you in there, because after all, AI is only that. It's a tool, right? It would be your choice to let it overtake you or not. And there you can still stay in control of it somewhat, right? So without your information and your things, I suppose you just sound the same as everybody else. Certainly what I will say is that AI is particularly helpful when it comes to just trying to keep up with the rat race, essentially. There's just so much to be done. The one thing, everybody in the world only has 8 hours a day, essentially, at work. It's the same hours every day. AI certainly has made a difference in how much time you can get back. I mean, just that automation I was explaining to you now saves hours, weeks, days for people, businesses, all that sort of stuff, right? But what I'm really enjoying about AI and my own involvement with it is actually that I'm using it to handle the day-to-day things, the things that don't really require a lot of my intellectual property. Basic day-to-day tasks like the content creation. So I've given it and trained it on my audience, my tone of voice, my brand, what my business does, the services I offer, etc. I know what I want to speak about because I understand the human element of my audience better than an AI tool would. And so now the execution for me has become important. But the piece that I'm loving about AI the most in that respect is it's actually helped me elevate my role with clients.
Oh, nice.
Because my head is not so full of executing on the operational stuff every day, I've actually been able to level up myself and play a more strategic role with my clients. So it's one of the things I always used to do in my corporate career back in the day. I use the term trusted advisor. The only way you get to know and understand your client is to be on their team. It's to be talking to them about their strategic goals, their aspirations, where they see their company going and that sort of stuff. But a lot of people are still caught by the overhang of the just crunching out the stuff that needs to happen. They don't get an opportunity to breathe or connect with their client like that. And I've seen it so many times how businesses lose opportunities because they've lost touch with what their clients are actually after and what their clients actually need. And I'm finding that AI is eliminating that. It's actually helping me step up and play into my intellectual property, my smartness, if you want to call it that, for clients.
Okay.
But it's also helping give me an edge with clients where I am connected to them. I do understand their business. I have the foresight to see where it is that they're going. And then all I simply have to do is instruct the AI to say, cool, here's where I need your support.
Love
It's
it.
actually what's happening. Yeah.
You're really good at that too. You're very gifted at seeing. That's why I'm saying that's your X-ray vision, because you have a great gift of listening and hearing and seeing where to put and I love that about you. What is as a lot of coaches out there, your brain-based coaching? What is that? Tell me a little more about that.
Yeah, so this was actually brain-based coaching was a bit of a love child for me many moons ago. Not to say that I haven't used it. I actually use it all the time, and I've used it on myself as well. But way back in 2016, I had a pretty high-profile corporate job. I was massively overburdened with work. I was probably the most senior person in my team at the time. I used to train a lot of new people that would come into the team. And so I understood our processes and all of that really well. And there was a woman I was working with in the team who had just been put on performance management for 3 months. Basically, she was going to get worked out. And being the empath I am, but also knowing I could help. I found her in the bathroom in floods of tears, and I just felt so awful for her. She had a family and kids and all that sort of stuff, and I knew that she just couldn't afford really to lose her job. And so I remember seeing her in the bathroom, and I said to her, look, you have one of two ways. You can either let this thing beat you, or you can let me help you. and I'll help you get through this thing. And she was sort of like, oh, how will we do it? This and that. And I had just come out of studying through the Neuro Leadership Group, a brain-based conversation skills and engagement. So how the brain works when you are having a conversation with somebody else, you know, how to get them to open up and speak to you, how to get them to have their own insights, how to, you know, that sort of stuff about coaching. And I used that, what I had learned, to help coach this woman I was working with, combined with all of my other experience in the role we had. Long story short, it worked like a bomb. I ended up creating what was called then like a job shadowing program for our team, where new people would come in and shadow me, and I'd teach them what I taught her. The outcome of which was she became a superhero legend. So we were in a tech company at the time. It was very all cool to be like a, you know, tech hero and all that. So she got Employee of the Month and Tech Hero Award, and she also got her bonus for the first time in 2 years. Mm-hmm. And ever since I did that, I was like, that's pretty cool. I really like coaching, right? And understanding how the brain works and how to use the conversation skills to engage better with people.
Nice.
And then I also used it on myself, actually, just when I was leaving my corporate job before I actually immigrated to the UK. And I had been severely bullied at work by a senior manager, and it totally rattled me. It really totally rattled me. And I already knew that how nobody could save me, essentially. And what was I going to do? And I fell back on my coaching skills, the frameworks that I'd learned and whatever it was, to help me recover from that, to restore my confidence, to help me. I'd never ever heard of imposter syndrome before, ever, nor had I ever experienced it in my career. I was amazing in my career. I can honestly say, hands down, I was the best person in my team. My clients adored me. And going from that and then feeling what I felt after that experience of being bullied, it just completely shattered me. And I remember when I moved here to the UK, I was sitting in my kitchen, and I remember typing into Google, why has my life turned to shit? And I pressed enter. And of course, Google came back with all these cool ideas of why it had happened. And I thought, how do you know? You don't know anything. I mean, like, you know. Anyway, I was scrolling through this thing and I saw this word pop up, like imposter syndrome. And I thought, oh, what thing have I caught now? Like, what silly germ do I have, you know? Anyway, and I clicked on it, and it resonated so much, and I couldn't actually believe that it was a thing. And so that sent me on a little path of discovery of what is it, and I researched it myself and blah blah blah. And because of where I was at the time, the only way through it that I could see was to use my own brain-based coaching skills on myself. So I basically coached myself through imposter syndrome. Now, the one thing I know about imposter syndrome is that it never goes away. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it revisits when you are pushing your own boundaries, pushing your own comfort zone, when you're ready to step, through fear and try something new. You might have some of those negative thoughts coming in or that kind of stuff. But long story short, I happened to create a course on how to overcome imposter syndrome. And I delivered it to 3 lovely women at the time. And it was a massive success. So the brain-based coaching is, like I said, it's a love child. It's something that it's a massively helpful skill. It has certainly helped me understand myself and understand other people. And it has definitely separated me from people when it comes to client experience. I absolutely know that without a doubt. Yeah.
Love that. I love that about it. And I love the word you use, adore, because I use that. I do adore you, so those of you listening and you just choose to, hire Laura, you will adore her for sure. You are.
What's not to love?
There you go. That's what I'm saying. You are adorable. It's heart-based. And I think that's what really attracted me to you because I love heart-based people. And, it just was so easy. It is so easy to talk to you and work with you. And I never once felt like I was made wrong for not knowing something or whatever. It was just like it just flowed. There was such ease and grace there, and I really appreciate it, especially in today's world of hiring people and hiring tech and not knowing what you don't know and everything else. And it's like, come on, come on, come on, come on. I always felt hurt, and always grateful for that. Always grateful for you anyway, but
Thank you.
well, you're welcome. You deserve that. I don't want to skip over that. Right? So what was the
Actually, sorry, just on that, two
yeah,
things that have just popped into my mind, I always keep close to my heart when I'm working with other people would be always leave somebody with their dignity intact. So even though they are learning, remember that it's not in what you're saying or what you're teaching them. It's
right,
how you're saying it, right? And it's the second thing then is how you make them feel. People don't necessarily remember all the things you tell them to do or all the things you share, all the things they should learn, but they certainly will remember how you leave them feeling at the end of that experience. So I always try to keep that at the back of my mind. And then, I'm more than happy to admit that I don't have all the answers all the time. So I believe you don't meet anybody by accident. You can learn something from somebody, no matter who it is, where it is,
exactly.
what's happening at the time. There's a lesson in that for you. So, yeah, I mean, that's, and again, your lessons don't always have to come in big, dramatic, introductions. They can just be the small, simple things, you know.
Exactly, exactly. So before we part today, is there I call them pearls of wisdom. Is there some pearl of wisdom that you would like to leave the listening audience with?
Yeah, I think, well, how do I choose? There's so many things. Certainly, when it comes to your potential, I would say give it a try, right? The golden nugget here is in the feedback, right? So people are like, I don't want to make the mistake. I don't want to look foolish. I don't want to, whatever. And if it's your choice not to try, you'll never know what the bounds of your potential actually can be. But more importantly, if it's a mistake, there's two things you'll take from that. One, feedback you didn't necessarily want to hear. And two, feedback that's better than the first option. And yeah, but in both instances, the feedback gives you information you can work with. So you can either decide, screw it, I'm not going to do that. That was a bad choice. Let me try something else. Or you can be like, hell yeah, that thing worked. Do more of that and tweak another little thing, right? So giving things a try or making mistake shouldn't hold you back from your own potential, right? Giving it a shot, because it's the feedback that you'll get that gives you the information you need to make the change or grow your potential, right? And then the other thing I guess I would say is be prepared to walk away was one of the biggest things. And I never really understood it at the time. But certainly, as my own experiences have evolved, being attached to a particular outcome, what it needs to be, how it needs to look, how it should feel, all those sorts of things, actually prevent you from seeing the potential in the situation or in the circumstance or in the relationship or the, opportunity, whatever it is. And I found that when I remind myself, and I'm stepping up and trying to, move into new things and try new things, that it doesn't have to be a particular way. The universe will always bring you what you ask for. just sometimes not in the way that you expect. So to be detached from the outcome allows the opportunity to come in the divine right timing and in the divine right order of things for you, for your highest good. So yeah, I think that's where I'll end it.
Laura, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to awaken potential in us all, including myself, because I did not know that, right? So I learned something new today as well. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Have to come visit us again. In the interim, to our listening audience, thank you for joining us on the Awakening Potential Show. And as you step back into your world, remember the bridge from ordinary to extraordinary is built with small steps of change and big leaps of faith. Let's today's insights from Laura Dougherty be a guiding light as you navigate your own journey, and all of her contact information will be in the show notes. So please do reach out to her, and she's a marvel, I'm telling you. So remember, growth isn't about reaching an endpoint. It's about exploring its possibilities. If today's episode sparked a new idea or inspired a fresh approach, let the energy move you forward. You were meant to be extraordinary. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and keep awakening your potential. Bye for now.